Hello, beautiful people, and welcome to your practice today. My name is Andriana, and I will be your yin guide for your practice today. So today we are doing a no props practice, working with our lower body. So a lot of leg stretches today, and it's a nice one. It's going to be a little juicy at the start, but do not be intimidated. Trust me on this. This is a practice I've done in class, in person, with even the most inflexible people, and they stare at me like I got two heads at the beginning, but by the end they're like, okay, this is the tea. So let's just start getting into our practice, breathing into the moment just to ground us into our practice. And all you need for this practice is your mat. So once that's set up, we're ready to go. So let's just have our hands relaxing on our knees, legs crossed, close the eyes. We'll just take 3 deep breaths together. So let's inhale through our nose, filling our body up, and then sigh. Again, inhale through the nose, fill the body up, and sigh. One last time, inhale, fill that body up, hold for a moment at the top, and then sigh. And just take notice of the natural flow of your breath here as it comes in and out of your nose. Just taking notice of the sensation of the breath as it flows in and as it flows out. And now that we're ready, we're going to move into our first pose, which is commonly called yogi squat or garland pose. So I'm just going to come onto my hands and knees here for a moment, mostly because I'm old and it takes a while for me to get all the way up. So from here, I'm just going to come into this dangle position. Heel toe my feet as wide as the mat, my toes pointed slightly out, and then I'm going to let my hips fall towards the mat. This is not a very accessible pose to many people, so I'm going to show you how you can just use your mat to make it more accessible. So I'm just rolling up my mat here. And once I have enough juice after my mat's rolled up, I'm going to do the same foot pose. So my feet are as wide as the mat, toes pointed out, heels are on my rolled up part of my mat. And then here, I'm going to bend into this pose. So now this brings the ground a little closer to you, having your heels lifted a bit, making this pose much more accessible. And I'm using my elbows to push slightly into my legs, help me lift my heart up so I'm not crouched over like so. Chest is up so my back is straight, breathing into this pose. This is one that you really want to breathe into because it can be intense at times. So just breathing into it, not judging yourself for what your variation of yogi squat looks like, just coming into your version of the pose and breathing into it. From here, we're just gonna bring our hands down to the mat and push our booty up to the ceiling. Just gonna heel toe our feet in a little bit more so they're hip distance apart, and we're gonna keep our hands down on the mat, or you can grab opposite elbows coming into dangling pose. Some people like the heels still lifted here. Some people want to go on something flat. I'm just gonna keep my heels still lifted here, more for convenience than anything. And I'm just breathing into this pose, getting that nice back body stretch as my hamstrings get a nice stretch here. Breathing into this pose. And from here, we're gonna repeat the cycle again. So I'm heel toeing my feet as wide as the mat, toes slightly pointed out, heels supported, bending into those knees, bringing my hips down to the mat, coming into that squat again. And so we are gonna do 3 rounds doing our squat dangle. So this is starting our second round of that. So again, slightly pushing my legs apart with my elbows, lifting my chest, and I'm looking straight ahead, or you can also close your eyes here, just breathing into this pose. Really allowing our hips to open here. Now, let's come back into our dangling. So we bring our hands down to the mat, lift our hips up, heel toe those feet in so they're hip distance apart, and find our dangle pose. Hands on the ground or holding onto opposite elbows. Taking a moment here to breathe into this posture. Now let's shift into our last round of this pose. Heel toeing my feet apart. Maybe this time I'm going to try it without the mat. Toes apart, heels in. Pressing my hips down towards the mat, coming into that squat, using my elbows here to push those legs apart, lifting that chest, looking straight ahead, seeing how much deeper. If you do a couple rounds of it, you might notice that you're able to get deeper into this pose. And trust me, I'm with you on this one. This is not one of my favorite poses in the slightest. And but the ones that you don't like are probably the ones that you need the most. That's what I've learned in my yoga practice. So we'll breathe into this together. And then coming into our last dangling, bring our hands to the mat, pushing our hips up, heel toeing our feet together, hip distance apart, relaxing into this dangle here. Also noticing we might be able to get deeper into this pose as well. Our edge has moved as we've done a couple rounds of this. So just breathing into this posture. From here, we're just going to plant our hands and step back into our down dog, just as a transition here. You can even pedal that down dog, just stretching those legs, taking a moment here. Find some stillness in that down dog, pushing the mat away with your hands. We're not going to hold it for long, just getting that nice full body stretch here. And then we're just going to come down to our knees, coming into an all fours position. From here, we're going to shift into sleeping swan, otherwise known as pigeon, in our yang styles of yoga. So as we're on all fours, we're just going to shift our right knee towards our right wrist and then shift our left leg back, so straightening that left leg behind us. So you can keep your leg so just pay attention to how your knee feels here. If this feels okay for you, stay there. If you want to deepen the sensation on the outside of that right hip, I'm going to be lifting my right foot closer towards my left wrist, so that helps me get a deeper sensation on the outside of my right leg, that front leg. So from here, once I find the position that works for me, I'm just going to take a few breaths with pushing the mat away with my hands, lifting my chest. And then with my front foot flexed to protect my front knee, I'm just going to slowly lower down to the mat. We're going to slowly lift out of this pose. So I'm pushing into my hands, pushing all the way back to that all fours position. Shift that right leg back, coming into all fours, and we're going to switch sides here. So now our left leg comes towards the left wrist. I'm extending my right leg back behind me, paying attention to how my knee feels here. If this is great with our heel tucked in, perfect. If you want to get deeper, shifting that foot, our front foot, more forward. Once I find my position, I'm just going to breathe up here, taking a moment to connect with our breath. And then when you feel ready, lowering our upper body down towards the mat, finding whichever variation of the pose feels best for us. When you're ready, I'm going to walk our hands back in, lifting our body slowly up. I'm going to shift that foot back, coming into this all fours position. I'm going to switch my legs around, extend them, into the front, coming into caterpillar pose. So I'm shifting my hips back here just so I can have some more mobility to bring my body forward to come into my caterpillar pose. So once I am comfortable, my feet are relatively relaxed here, moving from the hips, shifting my body forward, coming into that point of resistance till I find my edge. Once I find it, that's when I find stillness in the pose, relaxing my arms, letting my neck hang here in our caterpillar pose. Stretching the whole back side of our body. And just breathing into this posture. Slowly roll ourselves back up, coming into our neutral position. And then we're just going to come down onto our backs, lowering ourselves slowly. Trying not to squish our audio back as we come down onto our backs, coming to the end of our practice today, coming into our Shavasana. I'm just taking a moment here just to rest. Just following the flow of our breath, just taking notice of the natural flow of our breath. Once you're ready, we're going to bend our knees, bring the soles of our feet to the mat, and just let your legs fall to side, coming into that windshield washer movement, windshield wiper movement. And then we're just going to relax onto one of our sides, taking a moment here to breathe. And when you feel ready, we're going to push up to a seated position, legs crossed, hands in front of our chest. And we'll just take one last deep breath together. Just as we start our practice, I love to end in the same way. So let's inhale through our nose, filling our body up, and then sigh. Thank you so much for joining me for this practice today. I hope your legs feel lovely in this quick lower body, no props practice. I hope to see you again soon, and I hope you have a fabulous rest of your day. Namaste.